Hello everybody. Welcome to Creating the Basic Adaptable Game Engine Library, Part 12, Texture Class Code. In the previous video, we briefly talked about the design considerations for a texture class, and why it might be important to have a texture class rather than just using a default image class, specifically because we sometimes want to just draw part of an image, and the texture class will manage two pieces of information for us, the image file and also a rectangle object, which defines the part of the image we're interested in. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started right away. So I'm going to go ahead and start up IntelliJ. I'm still working in the Bagel Java project, and as always, I will post the code to GitHub, and the link to the code will be in the description. I'm going to go ahead and create a new Java class, and we'll call this class Texture. All right, we'll make that a little bit larger. And again, it's going to store two pieces of information for us. One of them will be a public rectangle called region. That'll be used to define what part of the image we want to draw. And the next piece of information will be an image, which we'll call image, following the convention that we're using capital, starting with a capital letter for the class name and a lowercase letter for the instance name. Now, one of the things I love about IntelliJ and most professional development environments is that they will autocomplete and they will load up the import statements for you, so you don't have to have them all memorized. But one interesting thing about the image class is, well, there's lots of image classes. And so we notice that when the error is detected here, that there are multiple choices as to what we could be referring to when we say the image class. So if we push Alt and Enter, we'll see that there's a few options, and I actually want to use the option from JavaFX. So javafx.scene.image. And look at that. I've got an import statement. Life is good. All right, two constructors. Right, the first one's going to be just a default empty constructor, public texture. It's not going to do much of anything. And then the other one that we're going to be interested in is the load method. All right, so let's go ahead and let's type. So this is going to be public static returning a texture, and the method name is called load. And this is going to, return, now it's going to require a string representing the file name. So string, let's call that image file name. All right, so first, since this is a static method, right, we need an instance of a texture to work with. Right, so we'll just call this tech for now. This is going to be a new texture. It's one of the reasons we need this empty constructor. And now let's go ahead and let's say string file name. So this is a little bit of a technical thing, is that I want to open a new file, and then I want to kind of extract the file name in a universal way that works no matter what system you're on. I'm going to create a new file object. I'm going to open up this image file name, and then I'm going to run a couple of methods. The first method is toURI, and then toString. Right, so it's going to attempt to open this file, and even if this file is contained within a jar file or something, this is going to work. And then I'm going to run this toString method. The toURI method really returns a URI object, which stands for Uniform Resource Identifier. That actually returns a URI object, and then we convert it to a string. It's just a foolproof way to make sure we get the correct file name, regardless of where this file is located. Right, so we get our string file name. And then the next step is to, well, load an image. Right, so in the image field of this texture object we've created, we're going to, it wants me to add an import. We'll do that in a second. This is going to be a new image with that file name. Right. Once again, IntelliJ is a wonderful thing. It's asking if it can please create the import for us. All right. Alt-Enter. And we'll just use the file class from java.io. I don't even know what the other one is. And so there's our next import statement. Import java.io.file. All right, so right here, within the image of this texture object, we've loaded a JavaFX image with this file name. And now we need to create a rectangle. And so tech region should be a new rectangle. But we need to know what are the boundaries of this rectangle going to be. By default, we'll just assume we're using the entire image. Right, so maybe we'll just use the default constructor, which will initialize everything to 0. And then we could say, for instance, tech.region.setValues. Right, we always like to use set values because this will, I don't know if you remember, but in the rectangle class, there's top, left, width, height. But also for readability, there's top, left, width, height, bottom, and right. And bottom and right are calculated for us by the set values method. So that's why we use set values instead of setting things directly, so nothing gets left out. But the coordinates of the left and top corner are 0, 0. The width, right, this will be, let's make this code very readable. Let's say double width equals tech.image.getWidth. And double height equals tech.image.getHeight. Then we'll say set the values to 0, 0, width and height. Right, so this will initialize everything for us. All right, we've loaded in an image, we've loaded in a rectangle, and we're by default going to use the entire region of the image. That's really all we need to do now. Normally after a video like this, I would do a test class, but we actually need a little bit more before we can create a test class. We would need a window and a canvas to draw the image in. So for now, hopefully this class is coded correctly. We'll have to figure that out later. That's about it for this class. That's what we need for textures. All right, thanks for watching.